Alright, so here I am. Just got in this book, Mike Myers, his newer 8th edition, CompTIA A Plus, all-in-one all-in-one CompTIA A Plus certification exam guide. Man, that's a mouthful. Why don't they just call it Mike Myers A Plus exam book? Anyways, I've had his book in the past. I have an associate's degree in what they call computer technology, whatever the frick that is. It was a very hands-on, technical college, but it was actually it was a great college in terms of it was very hands-on. So we all had computers and parts, and we actually had hardware to work with, and software. So if there was any operating system or hardware we were reading about, for the most part, we got to actually use it, which is very important. Now this here is for A plus certification, and at this point I really could highly recommend this book for anyone, especially newbies. Actually, it's very good for someone who is looking for a career path in computers, and in this case, computer hardware and software. Or when I say software, we're really talking about Windows and then the hardware that's used to run it. I mean, that's really what we're talking about, and then the idiots that mess it up and helping them. There was one part of this book was pretty funny because he was talking about recommendations on being a good tech, operational procedures. And one of the operational procedures that he really recommended for techs is when you show up on a job to shower, shave, and brush your teeth. I thought that was probably the most important information he could give, but irrespective of that, I really do recommend this book, either for a newbie or someone who's looking to brush up on their skills, such as myself. My knowledge is old and dated, so I'm trying to kind of get with the times, so to speak. I learned a lot about Windows 9X, Windows 95, Windows 98, Windows Me, Windows Selfish Edition. At the end of every chapter, he does give you some questions and then the answers, which is very important, so that you can see kind of if you learned. If you don't get any, honestly, if I don't get any questions right, I want to go back and figure out what I missed. But it is a very good book. It's very up to date. Is really the thing that I want to relay to people. It's not old, which is always sort of a problem when dealing with books dealing with computer technology, as it starts going over old, materials that you're just simply not going to see anymore. Or if you do, your goal is going to be to replace it. So I'm actually now I got this book on Monday, so I'm already kind of getting through it. Although yesterday I reached a little bit of a hiccup because I had so much work I had to do outside of this. But and yes, I am using a Domino's crushed red pepper packet as a bookmark. So yeah. Hey, ordered pizza, I saw it, and I said, hey, that would make a good bookmark. And then, at the end of reading this book, I'm going to use it. So, here's the chapter I'm on, and it's really annoying. It's really a tough chapter. I'm right at 100 pages in, and I hit a snag. And it's this chapter where he is trying to describe, with text, the different Windows interfaces. Just think about that for a second. Let me give you an example. There was, I think, the worst. It's when he starts trying to get into these folders. Oh, he showed us how to open Notepad. So this is very, very for beginners. It could be for beginners, but it can also be for advanced users, which is, I got to say, that is pretty impressive. That's hard to do. Here it is. I mean, he starts explaining folders and how to go into folder options, which I know how to go into folder options until I read it in this book. Then I get fucking confused. So it's kind of interesting. I think once you get past this chapter here, chapter 4, it's called the visible windows, which is basically what you see and the different and how to use and move around these operating systems. Windows. The book covers Windows XP, Vista, and Windows 7. That's it. It does not go any further back than that. There may be a little discussion of Windows 2000. I'm not sure. At least thus far, he is not covering that because I don't think it's on the test. So, yeah, but once you get past this, we start getting into visible networks. That'll be a lot easier. RAM, of course, which RAM and microprocessors and hard drives. That's largely why I got this book. I need to be updated on the newer technologies. I think that this does that in spades. So really what I'm getting at here is I highly recommend this book for someone who's looking for a career path in computers. I think it's a great example of the college scam because it is sort of like, why go to college when you can, for just a few $100s. I think for $500 you could get an A+, a Net+, and maybe even a CCNP or MCSE certification. MCSE is Microsoft. I forgot. Yeah, clearly I'm not that interested in it. Well, it's Microsoft Certified Professional is MCP. MCSE is Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer. I don't know, Phil. But it's right now my goal would be to go ahead and, because I never got my A in Net Plus because I was a fucking idiot. Although it's a good thing I didn't, as it turns out, because I would have had to retake it anyways. I think that right now is a great time for someone to go out, and if you could have like 3 desktop computers, smaller ones, cheap old ones, or they don't have to be that old necessarily, but one of them does. One of them could be really old that runs Windows XP, have it right there, Vista, and the Windows 7. And then if all 3 of them had kind of the differing ages of hardware, you would have the materials you need to actually use the hardware and software that is covered in this book. And someone could have a complete education for under $1,000. I mean, because the books don't cost that much. The hardware now and the software you can largely get for free if you just use trials, because you don't necessarily need a full version of Windows, because you can always format and reinstall and put the operating system back on, because again, these are just tests. You're just using it as, for study. So I think for $1,000, someone could easily go get their A+, their Net+, CCNP, and or MCSE or whatever Microsoft is calling it at this point, and have a career path in front of you that could be pulling, you could be making, probably starting out at $60,000 a year to start, if not more. But it depends on your market. If you're in a big expensive place, it could be $120,000 a year. At least now to start, it may not be a full 120, but 70, 80. With as you stay on, you can make more. But as you get more experience, of course, that'll go a long way. And then as you get more experience, you can turn that into even better certifications. To expert certifications. I don't know all the certification levels at this point because they've changed so much. So this is just a little rundown of this book, Mike Myers' new 8th edition, his certification. I really like it. It's really up to date. I really want to stress that because I was worried that I was going to get into this and I was going to start reading about Windows 9X. I don't want to learn a freaking thing about Windows 9X anymore. And I really don't even want to learn about the old hardware anymore, to be honest. If it's not something I'm going to see, then I don't want to learn about it unless there's a little bit of information I need for something else. So it looks like it's good in that it's good to go. And I really recommend taking a look at this. You can get over to Amazon. It's like less than $40 on Amazon right now, I think, which over at Barnes & Noble, they wanted full $60, of course. Barnes & Noble's going to go out of business eventually. So, just get a book like this, maybe a Net Plus book as well. Get a computer. It's going to have Windows 7 on it probably, or Windows 8, although this does not cover Windows 8 much yet, a little bit. If you're looking for a career path, that is one thing I like about the whole certification route, is it sort of gives a big FU to colleges and universities who want to charge you a ridiculous amount of money. And then, of course, in this economy, it's very difficult to find a job right now, especially straight out of college, because you're just another asshole with a degree. And you need something that actually says, well, this guy knows his shit. A certification, it tells people that you know your shit. More than a degree ever will. So there was a time where degrees were more valuable, but today they're just not what they were. They're, in fact, probably one of the worst investments you can make today, outside of a house and California or somewhere in certain bad markets. But all right, so this is it. Just recommending if you guys, some of you are computer geeks, take it to the next level. Man up, get certified, prove it, and then turn it into a career path. Because we need people in the liberty movement. We need to have money so we can donate more of it to the causes. That's a good one. See ya.